Here we are. It's the Wait for It Seattle podcast at Seatown Sports. I think probably people know us more for Seatown Sports since I got called the Seatown Sports guy.
Yeah,
I'm Brian. That's the real Seatown Sports guy over there.
yeah. I
Hi, Kev.
People in high school called me the Seatown Sports guy, like signed by
Because
yearbook.
you were
Seatown
like
Sports.
that's what
Yeah,
you were. That's what you were. Nobody
yeah.
called you the National History Day state winner. That wasn't what
No,
people
or
called you.
like I was reminiscing with my in-laws about how I won the Spirit Award for every team because we're talking about athletic ability, and I was like, I was really good at cheering on my teammates, and I didn't know that one person could win so many uh teammate awards.
Congrats, Kev.
Yeah, I
I
would
am
not make
also.
any money in the portal, by the way. I would not.
Well, we'll talk about the portal later. I won the tennis coaches award as a senior, which is essentially
That
the same
counts for
thing.
something. No,
Okay.
but yeah.
When I wear a Hall of Fame sweatshirt because I'm on 2 Hall of Fame teams at Seattle Prep, um, not really for my individual accomplishments, probably more as a coach. I was a valuable coaching member of the
Yeah.
2006 state championship team. But I had a girl in the front row of my freshman class laugh at me.
No.
Like, why are you in the hall? Why would you be in the Hall of Fame? So, but she's
That's brutal, man.
she can be unhinged sometimes, so it's okay. Um, she comes after me daily. All right, so speaking of the portal, though, Kev,
Yeah.
I'm wearing a T-shirt here that maybe everybody could see. Santa Clara. This is not a Santa Clara podcast, but rest in peace to my Santa Clara Broncos.
I feel
Your
like
Santa Clara Broncos.
every time I texted you, because obviously I'm on leave right now, so I'm on social media a little more than I usually am, and I've been seeing the portal news, and I have like how the algorithm learns you. So I have UW basketball and I have Santa Clara basketball. But then like it was like, all right, like Christian Hammond's in the portal, the best player, average 16.7 points per game or something like that. All right, we can expect it, right? Oh yeah, there's a lot
Sure.
of other players on the team.
Yeah, they're 2 next best players. My favorite, Sosh, the other point guard who was
That hit the
phenomenal in the
game-winning
St.
three.
Mary's game,
Yeah.
entered the portal. And then they're probably their best pro prospect, Alan Graves. That's his name, right? Alan Graves?
Yeah, decided to go pro.
Decided to go pro. So Santa Clara basketball, rest in peace. They can join this hat I'm wearing, the Seattle Mariners, who are now 4-8 on the season. So, Kev, ceremoniously, if you could describe to the audio listeners what I'm doing right now, the video can watch this, okay?
So right now he's changing his hat. He's putting on a hoodie. Oh, there it is. And he's putting on his Seahawks championship black hoodie.
All right, I'm back.
I explained it. Did you see me talking? Yeah.
Yeah.
Change of order. No one can take that away from you.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna like feel better wearing my Super Bowl championship sweatshirt and forget about the fact that underneath is my Santa Clara t-shirt and the Mariners hat is gone. I'm just gonna let the bald head shine today.
Yeah.
Because
you know what? We need to
rough
celebrate the Seattle athlete who probably has had the best 4 months of his life, and that's Sam Darnold, who won a Super Bowl and just had a wedding in San Diego. I was sitting on this news since Saturday.
That Sam Darnold was getting married?
I got a text from Caroline who told me our good family friend who works at a country club in San Diego said that Sam Darnold's getting married and there's a bunch of famous people at this wedding. And I was like, that seems like such a cool scoop, but I probably don't want to be the guy that just, I guess I could have talked about it. No one would have
I don't think it was a scoop that he was getting married, but yes, that where he was getting married. That would not be cool.
Where he was getting married? Yeah.
Josh Allen was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
The weddings are always interesting because you find out who people are actually friends with, right?
True.
Right? I don't think Randy Rosarena is going to get invited to anybody's weddings anytime soon.
He's not getting invited to my second wedding. I'm not having a second one. Okay.
I mean, you're not Mike Vrabel, right? Sorry, we're going sideways.
Oh boy. Mike Vrabel, what a day for him after losing the Super Bowl champs.
He's
Seattle
having
Seahawks.
the opposite.
Exactly. Yes.
That Sam Darnold's having.
Yes.
Oh, man.
But that's not what I wanted to lead off with. I want to go with a lead off here. I'm going to give you one as well. I hope you can roll with what I put on there for you. But I texted you a couple weeks ago. We've kind of been talking about this, but I just I don't know if it's a full rant. I got to process something with you. Bill Simmons has the #1 sports podcast in America. Okay, I went and looked. He's always battling with Pardon My Take 1 and 2. He's #1 right now. I've been a Bill Simmons reader, listened to her since I was in college, right? So in the 90s when he was on Page 2 before he was even on ESPN. Bill Simmons has championed the Sonics coming back for a while. He's been a big supporter of Seattle, big time, like, bring the Sonics back. In fairness, he's not really deviating from that stance, so I'm not going to sit here and slam Simmons completely. But if anyone who listens to Bill Simmons has seen this, he's pretty plugged into the league at this point with being the #1 podcast, and he used to be on NBA Countdown. About, I don't know, a year ago, he was like, expansion's absolutely going to happen. Then he kind of backed off on it, which seemed like he had inside sources, which was good because it did seem like the NBA was backing off on it. As we know, Adam Silver has announced that Vegas and Seattle are the two cities that are exploring expansion. They'll vote maybe this summer about whether they actually do it. They're going to take bids. They don't even have any bids yet. The Seattle group, we talked about this on this podcast with Samantha Holloway, Todd Lewicki, they are going to bid. They said they're bidding. So we know there's at least a Seattle bidder. Simmons went in his last couple of podcasts and he's basically said, they're leading Seattle on. I don't know why they're doing this. Expansion is either not going to happen, shouldn't happen, likely not going to happen. He cites owners he knows who won't vote for it because, just for listeners who don't know, right now the TV rights are broken up between 1 out of 30 teams. If you add 2 teams, your TV rights now are broken up. You get a 1/32 instead of 1/30. As an owner, you would get a fat check for expansion. $450-500 million just in your pocket for doing nothing, right? That's pretty awesome. Simmons makes a great point in that these guys are all rich. Yeah, I think they're all guys, to be honest, except for a few maybe or minority owners, sadly. But these people are all rich, and what do they need $500 million for when they can have this TV money over years and years and years and get this fat check every year? So he's been kind of poo-pooing expansion, for lack of a better term. But it smells fishy to me, Kev. That's what I want to say.
I feel like, especially this this theory that there's several owners and that Steve Ballmer is amongst the owners that would vote against expansion. It just doesn't seem logical to me. Like, Steve Ballmer is a Seattle native. Like, it and I don't think he wants to be the dude that stops it from happening. I don't know. Like, maybe the new Trailblazers ownership's really scared of another franchise. They should be scared of being moved and
they should like it, I think. I
mean,
you want that rivalry. That I-5
right?
rivalry
like,
was awesome. You don't want to be
stuck, right?
Yeah.
And so I get the idea of like, well, just move a struggling franchise to Seattle. I get it. I don't want to say like the ethical point of view here is like whether that's the right thing. That's how I kind of think of it. Like, and I've always thought of it this way. I don't want a team to move from another city to our city because that's what happened to us. And it's stinky and it shouldn't be that way. And if there's a solution that can get everyone a lot of money, which is right, like, who cares if it's a money grab, Bill Simmons? Like,
well, I think his
don't
best.
Believe. I don't. Do you believe that there's not enough votes?
Here's what's let me get to the part that I think is fishy. To your point. In the same way that Simmons says, why would they vote for it? right? And lose this future TV money, which is a good argument. Like that is the biggest argument, is that why would they do this? I don't think the owners care about the diluting the league talent or any of that crap. They don't care about that. I don't think the Portland owner cares that there's a team in Seattle. I think it helps. I think losing TV money for the next 15 years, if they really are like new owners who plan on having the team for a while, would be something they would care about, right? But why would Adam Silver do this? Like, what would be the purpose of this like charade then? Like of going
And
to hold on. Going through this process of like the next 6 months and of taking bids. Why wouldn't he just say like, we're not exploring it right now? Number two, with that, why would then the Holloway Group and Todd Lewicki be so optimistic? Like the flip side to me of Simmons' argument is, why would these other people be going from the stand? Is it just that they are optimistic and they're hopeful? Wouldn't that hurt the Holloway Group to come out so optimistic and then have it backfire? That would look so bad for them. You know what I mean? That would kill Seattle's spirits. I think Bob Ferguson is the governor. Just like everybody's optimism is what would be confusing if they didn't feel like it was going in that direction. And then the question is like, is Shams more plugged in than Simmons? And I don't know the answer to that, but Shams is like, this is going to happen, basically, is what his tweet said. So it's really interesting. It feels like there's some ulterior motive that Bill Simmons has, and I've read some Reddit threads that are pretty funny. Like he wanted to be part of an ownership group and he got spurned, or he is going to be part of an ownership group, or he's got an owner in his pocket who is against it. So he's speaking using his platform, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. The Celtics, there's a whole Celtics thing that like this will make the Celtics worse because they have a great roster and they'll lose players.
Yeah.
Like there's lots of things. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that there has been teases, right, where we've gotten close, but haven't gotten to the red zone, right? I think we're in the red zone now, right? And I think the reason why we're in the red zone now is because there's a overwhelmingly majority that wants this to happen from the Board of Governors.
That would feel like it, yeah.
Yeah, I think this whole thing about 13 owners, that might have been real like 5 years ago or whenever there was like that first push.
Shoot, a year ago, Kev. Remember when they slowed our jets on everything and we were like, whoa, this thing that was last summer, I had somebody who told me it's going to happen for sure. They're plugged in, not to the level of Shams, right? And then we on this podcast talked about what happened. It slowed down. And then it's speeding back up. Why would you do that?
Yeah. And
why wouldn't you just slow it down continuously, right?
Yeah.
It's so weird. He had this whole Silver had this whole thing about this. You remember the European League? And we were like, well, it looks like they're going to expand to Europe. And then you just come back to bring people's hopes up to do what? To raise the valuation of current franchises only? That seems weird. So it just doesn't add up to me.
I don't. And Simmons' whole thing about like, well, can someone just write an $8 billion check? And I just think that's just ignorance because it's not going to be like a single person.
Right.
Like
Never
obviously are going to have an ownership group.
There are plenty of rich people.
People are going to be pitching in. Like, and if you're talking about where the rich people are, there's a lot of rich people in Seattle. I think
they don't even have to be in Seattle. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like there's, and I don't even think it's going to be 8 million, but
yeah.
Anyway, we've done the thing now that, I wanted to lead off with when a podcast is talking about another podcast. That's really officially, we've probably hit rock bottom.
This is what people want, though.
I know. It related to the Sonics and addressing a big story. It's not just that it was a podcast. It was a big story. It is a big story. It's ongoing. We'll see what happens. Let's go to a more interesting, maybe more fun lead off from you, Kev. There's big news.
The Seahawks are going to be on Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
They're going to be the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. And this is like the first time that there's been a defending champion in the history. And
is that true? Ever?
The show's existed since 2001. And Schneider, I don't think loves the idea that this is happening. And Pete Carroll was obviously his whole time in Seattle didn't want it to happen, and it never did happen.
Right. It would have been so good with Pete Carroll years. With
Yeah,
like Will
and
Ferrell at practice and like whatever
yeah.
they had going on.
I think what's annoying, like, as a fan, it's gonna be cool, but what's annoying is this is gonna create a bunch of stupid storylines that aren't storylines. Like, imagine the thing with Clara and Randy Rosie right now.
Yeah.
This is like the worst case
That would have been
scenario.
good.
Like, there's just gonna be people speaking their mind and like all this stuff, and it really won't matter. It's weird.
You know what though? The way they presented it, I love Hard Knocks, but I usually forget to keep watching, and I only watch like the first two, and then I forget. It's more like now storylines that are. It's less about controversy. Even when a guy holds out, the last couple of years I've watched it, they just like follow that guy around, and it's like very peaceful. There's never anything bad. The only thing bad from a couple of years ago, the Giants looked really bad. Their GM looked horrible because he traded Barkley and he said something on Hard Knocks where he's like undervaluing running backs. And then they had some weird draft stuff. And,
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to happen with the Hawks. As a fan, I'm so excited to finally get some behind the scenes stuff. I think Mike McDonald will either come off super boring to America.
Yeah.
Or be like, oh, damn, that guy's a genius, right? Or somewhere in between, I guess.
It
I don't know.
depends how they frame it, right?
Yeah,
They can
totally.
get the footage and frame him as a genius or frame him as a boring dude, and I think they're gonna try to frame him as a genius.
They will, because they won the Super Bowl. Like, what would be, and what are people going to say? He's boring, but he's really good. Like,
and if Brock and Sock can make the weekly coaches segment with him entertaining, like they'll definitely be able to frame him up as an engaging coach.
Yeah,
so
I think we'll get some amazing Gray Zabel footage. If you think about the draft last year, remember when his like quote was basically like, "I'm going to go crush these bush lights now" or something. His interview. He will be great. I heard on the radio, G. Scott was talking about JSN's routines. I think that'll be really interesting to watch. Leonard Williams will probably be a star of it in a lot of ways, Witherspoon. It'll be fun. Like it'll be fun. AJ Barner will probably have a whole segment like on a farm or something. I don't know. Does AJ Barner go to a farm?
I think, and we've always talked about like the Seahawks, and this obviously this would have been way cooler with all the superstars on this team a decade ago, but that's besides the point. Like I think that this will give a chance for Seahawks fans to actually like fall in love with these players because I just feel look, we just don't know their personalities that much. These aren't the type of dudes that go out of their way to make themselves seen and try to be famous. They're just not.
Yeah. That's part of what makes them, awesome. But we did get to like, we talked about this on the pod before. One of the people is Ken Walker. People fell in love with, and he's gone. Yeah. But, people learned more about them this year because they're good. And that's what happened to the Mariners last year. People kind of fall in love with them. I think what's interesting to think about when you go back to your Darnold and the wedding, did Darnold let a film crew come? Because they do some off-season stuff and they definitely cover the draft. So they're going to have cameras in that draft room, and hopefully it sounds like the Seahawks want to trade out of the first round. They don't like this draft. They might trade down and get a few picks. But all that would be like really fascinating to watch. Schneider's so entertaining. To like see him on the phone with somebody and any footage will be great. So that'll be fun. So those are kind of the two big like non-games happening right now news stories for our leadoff. Maybe probably the biggest story right now is your Seattle Mariners, Kev, who are 4-8.
Yeah.
There's a few things going wrong, obviously. Okay. First, I'm going to lead off with the hitting. And I don't know why it's so frustrating when they can't hit because it's been so many years.
Yeah.
This one's different because nobody's really blaming the roster construction because they did it. They put together a great roster. They did go out and get Brendan Donovan. They did re-sign Josh Naylor. They traded for Rosarena, an all-star, a couple years ago. Cole Young is hitting, so it's not like you even screwed that up, right? But I just looked before we came on, Kev. They are last in batting average in the major leagues. They're second to last in OPS. They're second to last in strikeouts, which is maybe the worst part because they just strike out all the time. And maybe we shouldn't freak out, but maybe we should. So they have this thing on Major League Baseball called late and close, right? It's something about within a certain number of runs, 7th inning or later. They by far have the most at-bats in the league, late and close. 90 at-bats as a team. The next closest is 69 at-bats. Right? So they have 21 more at-bats than any other team in late and close. And they're striking out a ton and not really hitting the ball late and close. And so they're losing one-run games left and right. They've lost 4 in a row, one-run games. And it's so painful.
I just came up with the theory, and you tell me why this theory doesn't work. But the main problem with the lineup are the 3 best players.
Yeah, it's fair.
Josh Naylor hitting 104.
Can we pause on Josh Naylor for a second before we go to Julio?
Yeah.
Because Naylor's in a different category. He is striking out more than he should. But they said it on the broadcast tonight. Going into tonight's game, it was his first at bat. They were talking about this. He has 14 hard hit balls, most in the majors. 0 hits on those.
Bad luck.
0 hits on 14 hard hit balls. The only player in the majors with 0 hits on hard hit balls or something like that.
Like, I mean, he had a home run the other day.
Yeah, got robbed. He hit one to the warning track today.
Yeah.
He also hit into a double play to end the game yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So Julio, go ahead.
Julio hitting 152. Cal Raleigh hitting 156. Naylor was on Team Canada. Julio was on the Dominican Republic. Cal Raleigh was playing for Team USA. Ironically, Rosarena not doing that bad. He's hitting 268. He was on Team Mexico.
Yep.
Canzone hitting 200. He was playing for Italy. That's a lot of dudes. I mean, that's like half of the lineup wasn't playing in the World Baseball Classic and not at spring training. And I don't know if that impacts anything, but it just makes you think. I mean, Julio's always sucked at the start of the season.
It's so frustrating.
It's only April 7th. Are you worried at all? You're just frustrated.
I'm frustrated.
I'm not worried at all.
I also like the World Baseball Classic thing is a story people want to go with. And it is true. Like there's a lot of guys kind of at the, like who would be good who are struggling, but I don't know. Gunnar Henderson has 4 home runs and 9 RBIs. He was at the World Baseball Classic. You know, like it's not everybody. Am I worried? I am. I am worried because I am and I'm not. Like I'm not going to freak out. I purposely had to tell myself this coming on this podcast. But 4-8 doesn't feel good. Like it.
Yeah. You'd much rather be 8-4.
It just really.
Yeah.
It magnifies every game after, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay,
every
so you go
game
win.
is equal. Every game is equal, right? These 12 games are equal to 12 games next month. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's say you win 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
You're still 3 games under 500. You win 2 out of 3 again. You're 2 games under 500. And maybe you just have to chip away that way. But like you could win 4 of your next 6 and you're still 2 under 500. And that doesn't feel like you're a very good baseball team. So you're just digging a hole, and they've dug out of that hole for 2 straight years with incredible winning streaks. And I just don't want to wait for that. But they're 4th in ERA, 2nd in WHIP. Their pitching staff's been amazing. Number 1 in quality start percentage. Even with Logan Gilbert not being amazing, their starters.
We got Emerson Hancock, baby. That's
Emerson
why.
Hancock has one of the 5 filthiest pitches in baseball.
It's 0.71 ERA.
Yeah, they're pitching fine, and honestly, the Angels are playing a little above their heads right now. Good for them. The Astros just lost their best pitcher. Hunter Brown's out for months. They don't really have anybody else that scares me in their rotation. Doesn't mean they couldn't still beat the Mariners, but I'm not scared like I was. And Jacob deGrom, I saw something today, was going to get an MRI. Who just pitched against the Mariners.
Jacob deGrom's first sorry, this is random, but
yeah, go
you
ahead.
Don't capitalize the first letter of his last name.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought that was pretty cool.
So deGrom's getting a knee MRI. So the division is just giving you opportunities to stay in it, right? So do they have to play awesome baseball right now? No. But can we not lose a 1-run game tomorrow? That's what I'd like. Am I going to watch at 11:35 during my spring break? I'm 100% going to watch. Will I be frustrated? Yeah, I probably will. And I will have to vent to someone. So there you go.
I'm going to be on the receiving end of some text messages tomorrow.
It's possible. All right. So we're not going to freak out. There's some other news in Seattle sports that are pretty exciting time right now.
Yeah. The WNBA is going crazy right now. And I don't know who's on the Seattle Storm. There's like news about offers going out. I don't know what the terminology means. There's like different types of contract offers going out. There's an expansion draft. There's rumors going around on who's coming back. What the hell is going on? Like, where do we start? Do we start with the expansion draft?
Yeah, let's start with the expansion draft. So the Seattle Storm, it's kind of dumb. WNBA, the expansion draft was a disaster in terms of their marketing. They didn't release the protected lists for every team. Maybe every league wouldn't do that because, I don't know. I mean, the players know, so you're not protecting them from anything.
Anytime do they know, though? Do they? Do the players know?
I would assume they know. But maybe you're right. Maybe they don't.
I mean, doesn't that add a level of intrigue? Because
if that was true, then they should have milked the broadcast better. Instead, they just released the whole roster on the television set. Instead of, they should have gone one by one. Toronto,
like the NCAA tournament, right?
Like, anything that like the NBA and WNBA draft, like make it have drama. It was dumb. Nika Mule is the only player the Storm lost to get to the Storm, and she just tore her ACL in Europe again. Second time. It was
so surprising that they drafted damaged goods.
The Portland GM said they've known her since she was like 14. They have a soft spot for her. They want to help her rehab, revive her career. We've talked about this on podcasts before. She hasn't played very many games at all in the WNBA, and she has like endorsement deals. She's very popular. Can't hurt Portland's engagement on social media, whatever, to have Nika Mule. And maybe that's true. They really, value her as a person because they've known her a long time. I don't think Portland necessarily has any better facilities than Seattle to rehab. So it's not like they have some advantage that would help Nika Mule's career. It helps the Storm get her off the contracts. They don't have to worry about that. So she was the only one they lost, which was surprising. A lot of talk about Ezi Magabor being selected, maybe not protected. Turns out maybe she was protected because the Storm signed her to a core designated player today. Oh, that's the rumor. And you asked, like, what do all these things mean? WNBA is kind of weird. They're going to change the rules in 2027, but a core player means basically you have this right to give that player, but you have to give them a supermax contract, which in the WNBA is now $1.4 million. So that's the highest you can get in the league, which is bananas thinking about, like, whatever LeBron James is getting for the Lakers. It's 60 times that or whatever. Even De'Aaron Fox, I saw something the other day that said he's going to make $60 million in a couple of years. De'Aaron Fox, right?
Yeah.
But it's more than WNBA has ever made. All these players just got massive contracting. Caitlin Clark just made herself 20 times the salary. Amazing, right? Very good. So they can either sign her to the Supermax, sign her to a different deal with more years, or sign and trade. So little debate about
those players. So she can't negotiate with other teams.
No. So that the core designation
tag
is like a franchise tag. It's exactly what it is. Yeah. So the question is, should they have done that with Gabby Williams? I remember when Gabby came back from France, there was sort of this agreement they wouldn't core her, and they did last year, but she must have agreed to play for another year. Are they working out a deal with Gabby Williams? I hope so. Here comes the yawn. Start drinking now. Kevin's holding it back. But right now the roster is Malunga, Ezzy Magabor, I guess, under a core designation. Jordan Horston, who didn't play last year.
Lexi
Brown. That's the team. That's all they have, right? But like Las Vegas has not a single player under contract right now. And that's what's making this wild. Is WNBA free agency starts tomorrow. We'll get more and more news about what's happening. The rumor is the Storm are done. Skylar Diggins and Nneka Ogwumike are gone. Whether that's true or not, we'll find out. I think it's the right call. I think they should go younger. I think they should go more dynamic, even if they suck, to just rebuild around Malunga and the number 3 pick in the draft coming up. That's what I think they should do. What do you think?
I found it interesting that there was news coming out, and I think it's only like the big players, so like Kelsey Plum and Breonna Stewart basically came out and said before free agency that they're not going anywhere. And in my head as a lawyer, I was like, why would they say this? They're like losing leverage, right? Like they wanted, but they're going to get the max wherever they go. They're going to
get the max, yeah.
Exactly. And so they're the people that are like free to say those things. And
yeah, there's no leverage for them, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
So they don't care. But like for these other players, right, even if they wanted to stay where they are, and I think like a good portion of them actually do, that they're not going to say anything because they really need to leverage the hell out of like, I can just go wherever and get paid.
Well, for example,
what was your question?
No, that's for example. Yeah. So Sabali from Phoenix, who I think is awesome. She averaged like 14 and 6 last year. Total pain in the Storm's ass. Like she was really, really good, right? She's said Satu Sabali has said she's not going to resign, or that's her agent's putting it out there, whatever, right? She's also maybe hurt, I don't know, but it's totally, to your point, it's leverage, right? She's going to meet with like 4 or 5 different teams. I think what we're going to see is real WNBA free agency for the first time. For so many years, it's been just players getting the most money to stay with this team, or there's so much about like lifestyle and where you live. Like Breonna Stewart's like, I want to live in New York. I don't want to go anywhere. Sabrina wants to stay in New York. Like, I think the Storm should go all in on Jackie Young for the Las Vegas Aces. Like, give her a supermax. And I think there's a little bit more leverage with the way it's constructed now, or the money's big enough that there will be differences in contract that there wasn't before. Well, we don't know. We don't know how it's going to play out, right? But Jackie Young's young enough. I want the Storm to get young and different, and I want them to just be okay being bad as Malunga becomes a star, hopefully. And whoever they give it the number 3 pick also becomes a star. And then they become a championship contender. I talked about this last year. What's the point of losing in the first round?
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's exciting for the season ticket holders to have a decent team, but I get more excited about the prospect of getting good in the future.
I mean, you're basically going to get either Miles or Fudd. I think that's where you want the perimeter young player.
So Fudd
maybe
from UConn,
in some crazy scenario, they want like a dominant front court, and if that falls to them,
I've thought about it.
It's a weird thing,
but that doesn't match with Ezzy unless they trade her, right? So Betts and Malunga would be fascinating in some ways, but they would just have like no guards. I mean, they could go out and sign people, but Olivia Miles is we talked about it, like watching her play against Washington. There's such disinterest sometimes, it seems, or lack of effort defensively, that there's some worry I have. But she's maybe the best passer I've ever seen in women's college basketball. I just think that's a talent you go for. You don't have Diggins with her. That doesn't make any sense. If you draft Fudd, who's a shooter and can't create, it does make sense to go get a point guard to match with her. And just Fudd's just knocking down threes. Like, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, and these aren't, and when we're talking about Miles and Fudd, and I think there's going to be like a tier of players that are ready to go right away and contribute and be contributors. Miles and Fudd are there already, right? And so is Betts. Like, and I think
Fudd
there's
could struggle. I mean, Fudd could struggle with just expectations of being that high a pick, and she's just there's not a lot of shot creation with her.
Mm-hmm.
That could be hard. It depends on what's around her. Miles, talent-wise, passing, like, will make an impact.
Yeah.
None of them are Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, Juju Watkins in next year's draft, or 2 years from now, whenever she comes out. Even like Ryan Howard, who I think a couple years ago was like amazing. You know, I think Betts will be interesting. I don't know. The draft's good, but it's not like there's not a game changer necessarily. Maybe Miles can be that. Hopefully the Storm get her. But that draft is coming up at the end of the week, I think, beginning of the week after, with free agency. Like this time next week when we podcast, the Storm could have a whole roster. Like we have no idea what's happening. And yet people are like getting hyped to buy tickets for the opening game, which is like a month away.
It's like, who's on the
crazy.
Team? Yeah.
So
imagine
we'll
if
know
you had
more
to do promotions
tomorrow
for any of these WNBA teams. They're like,
yeah.
well, we can plan promotions, but.
Well, I got an email from the Storm that you can enter your birthday, and it was the picture on the email was from Doppler, the mascot. So that tells you everything you need to know about who's on the team.
Doppler's been holding down the Seattle Center mascot ranks. We need to get the Sonics back. So his back probably hurts.
We need Squatch back in there.
Or she, or what is Doppler? Does Doppler have a gender? Probably no gender. It's just Doppler.
There's a whole thing, Kev, that you can search. I don't know if you've done this about WNBA mascots and their gender.
Oh, really?
I think my wife talked about it on this podcast one time. You weren't there. There's a whole world about this. Yeah,
amazing.
There's a fair amount of like male gender mascots for no reason on some of these teams, and like, yeah, it's bananas. I can't even get into it with you.
Yeah.
But
God, that would be much more entertaining than our next topic, which is
well, way to sell it, Kev. People are just like, click, done listening. No, people want to hear about the transfer portal, Kev.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that the article that I posted last night, people were reading it, and I think, I just found it interesting, but.
Okay, I don't want you to tell all about your article, but I want to summarize UW men. UW men for a second. So tell me what I'm missing, okay?
So you go ahead.
I was just going to say JJ Mandaquit and Zoom Diallo are in the portal.
Yes, they're gone.
Hannes is going pro, even though it hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah.
He's not even on the roster, which is also weird that they have the 26-27 roster up for UW men, but not the women. And Frank Kepnong is on that roster. Yeah. Frank Kepnong's not playing college basketball anymore. Okay. He's already gotten like 17 medical red shirts. Okay. I don't know why he's on there. So Hannes is going pro. Tucker announced he was going pro, which was a big surprise today.
Yeah.
Am I missing somebody else going to the portal?
Something that happens where I'm like, I need to quit my job and become a sports agent because I'm not quitting my job. If someone from my job hears this, I'm kidding. It's a joke. But I'm like, why? Who is giving this advice? Although I wouldn't make any money because, anyways, that's another story.
I don't think it's advice. I think I saw somebody say he's just done playing college basketball. Like he doesn't want to do it anymore. And like, that's fine. Maybe you go to the draft, you get seen somewhere, and you can go play in Europe. I mean, is that a terrible life to go live in another country?
No, a lot of people do it.
Although going to Europe right now doesn't. I don't know if that's the move. Just geopolitically in the world, like I don't know if that's the right time to go to Europe. But who knows why he's going? But he's done. He's out of here.
Yeah.
The guy in Santa Clara we let off with has a better chance of getting drafted than Tucker for the UW. Okay, Graves is like a pro prospect, but he's probably not ready yet. Claude, we already know, gone. Nobody knows where he went. He's never spoken of again. So the Huskies don't have a lot left, right?
Yeah, they really don't. And I think the reason why they had to put the roster out was for the portal. So an agent shopping their player could go to the UW roster and understand, like, oh, they need a guard, right? Like,
but why would
they
the
need a
women not
forward.
have that?
I think the women might update it, or that they just don't really need to do it because their roster's not getting decimated like the men's roster, right? You also have graduating seniors, so they lose Kamari Peterson, they lose Ignacevic, who played like 2 games.
Okay, great point. Why is Frank Kepnang on that roster?
Yeah,
I don't get
so
it.
he's applying for another medical redshirt.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Oh my God, I can't even handle this.
Him and Garrett Hatchett will just never leave UW. They'll have like families by the time they leave.
He's applying for another medical redshirt?
He's got to be. I mean, that's the only way he'd be playing again, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There's an article from February.
Yeah.
That's why he's on there.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't he?
Because I can't even, like, I know this isn't great content, but I can't handle this right now. And this is not a knock on Frank. I've talked on this podcast before.
Yeah.
Love Frank.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm just going to go to his profile here for a second. Okay.
Yeah.
He was a freshman in 2020, 2021. He was at Oregon, 21-22, Oregon, 22-23. He was a junior, 23-24, a senior. That's 23-24. He was a senior. 4-25, he's listed as a redshirt senior.
Yeah.
26, graduate student.
Yeah.
Will this be his 7th year of college basketball if he gets it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. I mean,
played 17 games as a freshman, 35 as a sophomore, 8 games before season-ending injury as a junior. Senior year, he got hurt again. It doesn't say how many games he played. Redshirt senior, only 14 games, and then this year he played a lot. So I guess he has two years with under 15 games. You're right. That's why he's on the roster, which means the Traore guy who never played for us is also on the roster.
Yeah.
What's happening, Kev?
Yeah.
Can we talk through this? What are the Huskies? You wrote an article.
Yeah.
What are we looking for? What's happening? I know we don't want to talk about the men's basketball team, but
they're definitely looking for a point guard. So I wrote up a little post this morning on X about how they're showing interest in what's his name. This is a horrible.
You don't have to say it.
Not remember.
You make people go click on it.
I can't remember. Go to @Seatown Kev to see who. I'm the only person that so far has reported who they have interest in.
Look at you.
And it's not just the name that matters. I think it's more that they just need to find a point guard in the portal, and that's kind of obvious since they lost Mandaquit. Yeah. Someone was like, it's really funny because everyone's just upset about Sprinkle and upset about the roster being turned over. And someone basically told me, like, no, we need shooters. And I'm like, well, we need someone to pass it to the shooters that we don't have yet, right? So you need a point guard no matter what.
They need it. They need everything, yeah.
Yeah, because I was complaining, like, well, you need to replace Mandaquit. They're like, well, he averaged 5 points a game. I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, he passed the ball. He moved the offense. So they lose Mandaquit.
Were you talking about the Texas Tech guy, or were you talking about the VCU guy? Who's the point guard you're thinking of?
No, the point guard that I'm thinking about is Robert Morris, the Robert Morris guy. He wasn't even in my article because I found out this morning that from a source that they're pursuing him. And his name is, I'll just tell you right now.
Yeah, tell us. It's not in the article, so you got to go read the other people.
His name is...
This is great.
This is so bad.
This is really good. This is why people want us to do a live podcast.
His name is Ryan Prather Jr. Yeah, he's from Robert Morris. He's averaging 15.7 points per game, 3.9 rebounds per game, 3.6, and he shot 44% from the field. Maryland, UCLA, Notre Dame, George Mason, Ole Miss, Iowa State also in play. What a mix. What a mix of programs.
Let me tell you something for a second.
Yeah.
Okay? I think you should keep writing these articles. I think people will love it. I think it's awesome. I'm going to tell you my take on this.
Yeah.
I don't care who they add at all. Until I watch them play basketball and they look functional and cohesive and they're doing something other than a high ball screen or an ISO post up and they actually compete defensively, then I'll start caring about them.
Are you under the impression that Tyrone Stokes, like if some way miraculously ended up a Husky, that he could save Sprinkle's career, coaching
I don't
career?
know. What I don't understand about Danny Sprinkle is, and I never did this, I talked about it in the pod, I wanted to go watch Utah State film to see what they
Yeah.
ran there. I don't understand how you can win that well at Utah State, because you can't be running just high pick and roll. Maybe you could. It's as if he can't adapt to the higher competition league, and it just doesn't seem to fit how he got good. So I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's not like Hopkins. Hopkins was an assistant, right? And we were kind of taking a chance, and he had some talent, this and that. Danny Sprinkle had done it. I mean, it's lower level, but like he makes the jump. Maybe this happens all the time, but he got the talent. And sometimes it's like, well, they can't get the talent. He got the talent theoretically, right? And they look awful. So
Yeah.
to answer your question, it's hard for me to imagine any player can save him, an individual player for that matter, right? I think they need a whole overhaul of what they're doing
Yeah,
and
we talked
the
about it
kind of
last
player they're
episode.
getting.
Yeah.
I would rather them go like gritty dudes who defend and just are annoying and less high profile talent. So Stokes doesn't fit that necessarily. I mean, he hasn't had to defend in his life, right? On a level that I'm talking about in college, where you're like fighting over the top of ball screens and stuff. Like Stokes has been so good and he's been on such good teams. He hasn't had to do that stuff. My understanding is Stokes is going to take the biggest bag wherever it is. So if UW gave him the biggest bag, I think he would go to UW. I'm not reporting that. That's just what I've heard.
Yeah.
And good for him.
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't you?
I mean,
Like,
maybe, who knows? Like if Damon Williams is getting multi-million-dollar, over $1 million in third-party NIL, because the rev share cap, right? So I'm gonna get technical here, but
yeah.
there's only so much. There's only 20 million to go around, so 15 million goes to football, and then you have 5 million to go between men's basketball and women's basketball. And if the best, most high-profile athlete on campus is getting 4.5, right? You got to think that
Who's getting 4 point?
demand
From the Huskies in their collective or whatever?
No.
You're talking about third party.
He's getting like rev. We don't know the breakdown. It's kind of opaque, or not opaque. What's the opposite of opaque? Is that the right word?
Blurry?
Blur. Yeah, opaque, right? So, wait, does opaque mean clear or blurry? This is my Seattle prep education. You need to help me here. Do you know?
Of course I know. I'm waiting for you.
I have no idea.
Opaque is blurry.
Okay, so it's an opaque process because we don't know how much of that is actually coming from the rev share cap, and then how much is coming from like Learfield, Adidas, Alaska Airlines, right? Which is real, what we call real third-party NIL. And so I do think that what we saw with the basketball team this past year is kind of an illusion, because it was before the rev share cap. And so what happened is that donors just funneled money to Montlake Futures, which existed at the time, and then they signed these collective deals to get these dudes, like get all these transfers that came in.
So now, how would you do it? Let's say you wanted to get Tyrone Stokes.
You're doing it. Now you're like third party NIL, and is he an Adidas or a Nike guy?
He's Adidas, which is why.
Yeah. So this is what you do. And I think this is why UW is in play, because it's like Adidas is willing to sign him to a huge third-party NIL deal, right? We saw Odunze and Penix got Adidas deals. Like Jonah Coleman and Denzel Boston got Adidas deals, right? Out of, and they probably had it when they were at UW, but it's Adidas is not going to be just handing out like huge NIL contracts to just any athletes at Adidas schools, right? They're going to choose the best, right?
I said it wrong. He's a Nike athlete. Sorry.
So
he signed with Nike, but Kansas has been in play and Washington is back in the top 5 supposedly or something. So who knows what that means, but he has a deal with Nike. So I thought that would send him
maybe they could
right.
break the Nike deal and go with Adidas.
I thought he was going straight to
Kansas,
Kentucky because of that.
Yeah. Well, instead, Zoom Diallo is apparently going to go play at Kentucky, or he's sorry, that was intense. Kentucky's interested in Diallo.
Wow.
Okay. So
wow. Are you trying to give breaking news right here? No.
No. I mean, he's
in play. It's wild. Can we talk about the Husky women for a second?
I'd love to, because it's much more awesome. It doesn't sound like anyone of note is leaving. I mean, there's people leaving, right?
Olivia Anderson's in the portal. She didn't play hardly at all this year. She's a junior, big. She's very, very. She's like a tall, thin, big. So she's not like Bryn or Yulia this year. Chloe Briggs, who is sort of turned into a fan favorite because she takes crazy amounts of charges and like foul baits a lot, and she's a skilled guard, struggled to shoot at the college level. I thought she was just there kind of culture wise and would stay. I think I even had this conversation with somebody this year, like, even if she doesn't play, she's not going to leave because maybe she loves UW, whatever, but she's in the portal. And then Sienna Harvey, who was a freshman, not surprising, really lost minutes. She's like my favorite. She's so skilled and fun. I think she could end up being an amazing point guard somewhere. So that one bums me out. But the Husky women are going to come back next year with Avery Howell, Sabia Sellers, and Bryn McGoy as their 3, and that's why they're ranked top 15 in 2 early polls already. Coppinger will be the 4th starter. She played a lot of minutes at the end of the year, like 30 plus minutes. So those 4 will start for sure. Who's around them? They're going to have to fill in with the portal. They will have to hit the portal for themselves as well. I would say they need to get a big. They need a shooter. Probably another guard who can handle, but that's not as important as a shooter and a big. They do have a freshman coming in named Amaya Garcia, who's a top 100 player. I've actually today went and watched some highlights and some game film.
She good?
She's really tall and physically built. So like, she's not a slender guard. Sienna Harvey, if you watch the Huskies this year, small guard, athletic, quick. Garcia could defend like Division I guards physically, which is a big jump from high school to college. She played on a team in Texas that ended up having a national touring schedule, so she played the best of the best all year. She could shoot. It's hard to tell with freshmen. I thought Harvey, the first couple games, I was like, she's gonna be amazing. It's hard to tell. I don't know what will happen. Maybe who they signed in the portal will tell us what their plan is for Garcia. You know what I mean? Like, if they don't load up on good guards or get a really good guard, then she's probably expected to be in the rotation. But Amaya Garcia is somebody to watch for sure as a freshman. But yeah, you're right. I don't think it's as depressing for the women. Certainly not. They're top 15 team next year, according to most publications. So
yeah, it's kind of like, if you see, it's not necessarily like you're good and guys stay. Like Santa Clara is a great example, and it's not necessarily
their best year in 30 years, and they all left.
They all left, and it's not necessarily you're bad and people leave, right? Why did Wesley Yates and Desmond Claude come to UW last year? It makes no sense.
And why is Wesley Yates staying? I mean, maybe he just
Quincy's
got enough shots,
right?
and I guess.
And
I don't know.
He's going to be the dude. So I think it makes sense.
And to your point, Kev, how about this? I saw this on the Twitter sphere today. Remember Tyler Harris? Totally forgot he played for the Huskies.
Yeah, when he was an NBA prospect at one point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he went to Vanderbilt, and he's like back in the portal, and he had a very disappointing end to his Vanderbilt time, even though he had decent numbers. Warren Johnson, Garfield alum, was at Ole Miss, averaged about 2 points per game, a little under 2, back in the portal. And somebody I really think is great and played at prep, and I got to watch a lot of games, Braden Smith. Colgate, Patriot League Player of the Year, goes to Gonzaga, sits out a year in redshirts. I was convinced that redshirt year, like Gonzaga's so good at player development.
Yeah.
He was the starting point guard to start the year. They have some European guys who were better. And he's back in the portal, Braden Smith. I don't know if he would come to UW as a point guard, but it might be better for him to go to Santa Clara. Huh, Braden?
Yeah.
But, it's hard. And the portal is enticing, and maybe it's not always the best thing. Like, maybe the best thing is what used to happen. You develop at a program and you get good.
Yeah, there's enough.
Like, imagine where Corin Johnson would be right now for the Huskies if he just stayed.
Yeah, I guess, but for every one of those, there's also like the Michael Penix story, like the Fernando Mendoza story, right? Like where, and it's I'm using football, so maybe it's
the Michigan Wolverines, who had 5 transfers in the starting lineup and won the national championship.
Yeah, so like maybe it's it's hard to generalize. I do think that for the Huskies in particular, if you go and read Percy Allen's article where like they have the where are they now, and they track the transfers, and it's like, man, these guys just sucked. Like they left the Huskies and they sucked. They wanted more and they didn't get more.
Maybe this is more of an indictment on Sprinkle. They're not all Sprinkle guys, but like everybody he gets goes to die.
I mean, Tyler Harris was averaging 15 points a game and was a lottery pick, and he leaves and kind of withers at Vanderbilt. Just a whole interesting. I think there's going to be when the rules will change again.
Well, Trump's already changed it, Kev. He passed an executive
That's a whole
order.
other thing. Yeah,
and everybody says it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Can you give legal?
I can tell you that thing is just made up. Yeah, because the courts make the law. What it was a puff piece is how you would term it, and it's just telling Congress, this is what we would prefer to happen.
5 years, 1 transfer is what it said, and the NCAA basically were like, no Kepnong. The NCAA said this is what we want, right? Yeah. But then everything
that's what the NCAA said, right? But not Jay Billis. Right. And I think this was a great, I don't know if you saw the clip, but there was a college before the Final Four, Calipari, Jay Billis, and I think it was Seth Greenberg, and Reese Davis was on there, and I'm missing a person. But they basically got into it about the 2 solutions, basically, whether Congress makes a law or you go and do collective bargaining. And I'm definitely on the collective bargaining side because that's just how professional sports work. And this is what it is. It's turned into. And Congress doesn't make laws for the NFL, the MLB, and the NBA. Right. And
why isn't there, maybe we should save this for a different podcast, but isn't, as a lawyer, this is not, you're not speaking for your company here.
Yeah.
For your firm. But aren't all the collective bargaining falling under, they've been challenged under like antitrust.
Yeah.
And that it's what the salary cap and all these things are actually could be challenged legally. Is that?
Yeah. I mean, everything can be challenged legally.
Okay, that's fair.
But this, it's just so funny because it's just, this is the way it's been the past decade, is that if you don't get the outcome you want, the NCAA just will lose in court, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
That's what's happening. And so then any Joe Schmo judge is making a rule that's impacting, so there was a ruling about the Diego Pavia thing about he wanted another year. And then the NCAA was like, well, we give up and everyone just gets an extra year.
But they fought it with a couple of guys for next year for football.
Yeah.
The guy what's his name? Something like whatever, the quarterback.
Trinidad Chambliss.
Yeah. He's fighting for his eligibility. They didn't give it to him. He's just going to fight in court. But that's what's so interesting, Kev, to me, and maybe this is turning people off now because we're getting too nerdy about it, but the courts have ruled in favor of the athletes so much in the college ranks.
Mm-hmm.
But all these pro leagues have this like restriction of what they are arguing college players are not getting, right? They're arguing the courts, and this is a generalization. I get that it's not very nuanced argument here, but okay, you're not getting paid for your name, image, likeness is kind of where it started. All these things, the players are being restricted. Let's use that term.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole argument for Major League Baseball that's going to go to a lockout is that they want to put a cap on it, and that would be the same argument. You're restricting their potential earnings.
Here's the difference, though, is that there's a contract between the players' union and the owners, and so they went to the table and they made concessions, and they made a private contract between two individuals. You can contract whatever you want. You can it can be unfair or fair, but if it's in a contract, then that contract gets enforced. Here, there is no contract. So then there's all these
that
there's
makes sense.
all these rules that have no teeth. And that's the issue.
Right. Because they never agreed to it.
There was no agreement. It was just someone saying that this is the way it needs to be. And then these other players were like, that's not fair. And here are the millions of reasons why. So it
leads us back to the WNBA, right? Like they're getting a pay increase, but they agreed to a new deal. So whatever restriction they have on revenue share or whatever it is, they've agreed to something. So it's fine. There's no challenge.
A deal is a deal.
A deal is a
great
deal,
trial theme.
Right?
A deal is a deal.
A deal is a deal. Wonderful.
Should we go to top 5?
Let's do top 5. Let's do top 5. Kev, I'll start off if that works for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give you Seahawks running back history. The reason I wanted to bring this up, to circle back to our Hard Knocks and the draft's coming up. I've been reading all this stuff about the Seahawks. I don't know if they said they blew it, but like losing Ken Walker. Okay. This whole like losing Ken Walker thing is a story. They paid Shaheed. They didn't pay Walker. He obviously had a good postseason run. So maybe I'm selling this in a way that's going to give it away, but I'm going to do it anyway. Kev, I want you to tell me the top 5 single season rushing leaders. And we've probably done this before, but I'm going to do it again in Seahawks history for one season rushing yards.
Okay. Sean Alexander.
Yes. Now, can I push you on Sean Alexander for a second?
Which year?
Nope. Nope. That would be good, though. How many of the top 5 does he have?
1.
He has 2. He has number 1 and number 2. Back-to-back years, 2004, 2005.
So MVP season, yeah.
Kind of incredible.
Yeah. Chris Carson?
No. Strike 1. Chris Carson is 14th on the list. And 18th, in fairness to Chris Carson. You should probably get one of these. You should probably get one.
Ricky Waters?
Wow, you just like... No.
Wow, I lost.
Yeah, you lost. Ricky Waters is 12th and 13th and 15th. You're actually helping my argument of why I wanted to bring this up.
Yeah.
You didn't name Marshawn Lynch.
No.
Who's number 3 all time. He had the 3rd best season. Sorry, and then Marshawn. Chris Warren.
Who's on the top 100.
1994, John Madden, which I used to play with him, run halfback dive up the middle over and over and over, is number 4 all time. Kurt Warner is 5. But just because you were terrible at the top 5, Kev, that's not the point here, okay?
Yeah.
The point is this. You ready for this? Okay, so Alexander had 1 and 2, then Lynch, Warren, Warner, Alexander again, Warren, Alexander, Lynch, Waters, Carson, Waters, Lynch, Alexander, Carson, Warner, Warren. That's the top 20 all-time single-season rushing yards. Who did I not name? Top 20 seasons in Seahawks history.
Ken Walker.
I didn't name Ken Walker. He does have number 21. and he is number 22. Okay. He has 2,000-yard seasons. Chris Carson was a 7th-round pick. Chris Carson's got 1,000-yard seasons, right? Chris Warren was not highly regarded. 1,000-yard seasons. We traded for Marshawn Lynch once he had kind of had this weird thing in Buffalo, right? Ricky Watters, we signed as a free agent, but he wasn't like, getting Ken Walker money right now. Ken Walker was fine, okay? But Ken Walker in this year that everybody wants to say is like such an amazing year, right? And I'm not slamming Ken Walker. He was awesome in the playoffs. He averaged 4.6 yards per carry. That's pretty good. Guess what? Chris Carson had a 4.7 year. Marshawn Lynch had a 4.7 year. Warner and Warren, 4.6. Lynch had a 5.0. Alexander obviously had amazing years. Even Ricky Watters is at 4.5 yards per carry. If you go yards per game, I'm not done with my rant yet. Ken Walker, this year, do you know how many yards per game he averaged? 60. People in the national media need to listen up. Stop focusing on Ken Walker's end of his career in Seattle and pretend like he should be the 4th highest paid running back in the NFL and that the Seahawks should have given him that money. They made the right call. He averaged 60 yards per game this year. And they want to say, well, they split it with Charbonnet. You know why? Because Ken Walker gets hurt all the time. Like, if you didn't know that, you just haven't been watching the Seahawks, and that's okay. But in 2024, he played 11 games. Okay? Yeah. He did play 15 games in 2023. He had 219 carries, and then last year he started 11 games, played 15, had 228 carries. So he's had 2 back-to-back pretty healthy years. He's also a running back who's, sorry, I went the wrong way. He, 2 years ago, played 11 games. He played 17 this year. He had 221 carries. He's going to be 26 years old, could be in his prime. He could be amazing for the Chiefs. He's not. There's no way they should have paid him that money. Rant's over. Thank you for listening.
Speaking
Kev's
of
ready to go to sleep.
Yeah, speaking of paying people money, my top 5 is the top 5 highest paid athletes in Seattle sports history. And so this is by total contract value signed with the Seattle franchise, so not career earnings. So like A-Rod, I'm just going to give it to you. A-Rod's not going to be in it, even though he signed that.
Wow, this is, okay, all sports.
All sport.
Does it include re-signing in Seattle?
Yes.
Any contract you sign in Seattle.
Extensions, yeah, all that.
Boy. Well, this is really throwing me for a loop already. Okay. Ray Allen.
No.
What?
He's not on this list.
You got your list from some AI bot that's not even real.
Okay, how much was
Probably
Ray
got
Allen?
it from Grok.
No, absolutely not. I know Ray Allen's not on this list. Although I'm interested to know what his contract is now that you say that.
Is there a Sonic on that list?
There's not a Sonic, no.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Ray Allen had a 5-year, $81 million contract. So
million.
he was
5-year, 85.
Yeah, so he's pretty short of what these guys were making.
All right, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah. He's
got to be number 1. He's
4.
the biggest contract in Seahawks history.
Seahawks history. He's number 4.
Okay, so that means there's 3 Mariners above him, yes?
Yes.
How come I can't think of the biggest contracts in Mariners history? Well, Julio.
Yeah, Julio's $209.3 million.
Is he number 1?
He's number 2.
Oh. We had a bigger contract than that. You know what? I'm stupid because I said Ray Allen. Well, I didn't know his contract number, but Colt Emerson has a bigger contract than Ray Allen. That's also wild to think about. Cal Raleigh?
Close. Cal Raleigh is at $105 million.
Okay, pretend I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Felix Hernandez.
Yes, he's up there. $175 million. 7-year extension. Yeah.
Ichiro?
No.
He never gave him big money, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You're missing.
All right, tell me.
Robinson Cano, $240 million.
$242 million over 10 years. I knew that.
Yeah, and then Russell Wilson at $140 million.
Yeah, I should have got those. That's a good top 5.
Just outside the top 5, Robbie Ray at $115.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Jason was at $168. Sorry.
Who was 168?
168. JSN.
Oh, JSN.
So he knocks out Russ.
Okay.
Other big ones.
Yeah, he's the biggest one in Seahawks history.
Charles Cross was at 104, Darnold at 100.5, and Josh Naylor at 92.5. So obviously, like the most recent ones, but like, man, that Cano contract was massive.
That was massive, and it was awesome. It was so good. Do you know? I'm gonna try and find this for you. The biggest contract in Kraken history.
Is it going to be like 10 million?
I think it should be Chandler Stevenson. No, it's bigger. Matty Beniers got an extension, 7 years, 50 million, just under 50.
Not bad.
So that's 7 million a year. Brandon Montour also got 7 million a year. That's wild. You talk about the WNBA though, still, right? Like 1 million.
We're out here talking about like
1 million.
Max deals. Yeah.
Nope.
Crazy.
I wonder what the biggest Sounders one is. Just before we go, Dempsey probably.
Yeah, it's got to be Dempsey.
But I don't know. The soccer's always weird because they don't always report everything.
Also, they like buy contracts, right?
Right.
They like do rentals and stuff.
And some of them are reported, right, when they buy the contract. So Dempsey was a 4-year, $32 million deal. So $8 million a year. That was big. But his like base per year was 4.4. It's kind of weird the way they do it in soccer. It's hard to know. They never really report it. But yeah, baseball, man. No salary cap. Maybe it's coming.
Yeah.
But to your point, you got to have a contract where they agree. And that's why we're probably going to have a lockout in 2027, which makes this 4-8 start to the season even more depressing.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. And by the way, we set a record for YouTube viewers. So we had like 150 people watch us last week.
That was probably all the seniors at Seattle Prep on their spring break in Mexico. Just watching us. It's
great. So see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.
Let us know if we should do a live podcast from Renton. Just throwing that out there.
Crazy.
All right.
All right. See you next week.